everyone, welcome back. I was just looking before I hopped on this live stream. It's been over 10 months since we've done one of these live streams, so it feels so good to be connecting with you guys again. I mean, no stranger, we've been creating videos for a while now, but back here in front of the camera, live, talking with you guys, answering your questions, it's just something different about it. So I'm glad to be here. If you guys haven't met me before, my name's Dakota. I am the Bearded IT Dad. I also host the IT Career Podcast, where I give you advice and insight on how to jumpstart your career in the IT field. We cover everything from cybersecurity, cloud, networking, you name it. We cover how to break in, or if you're already working in tech, how to advance your career. And tonight, there's no agenda. This is going to be a simple live stream. We're going to be talking about the things that you feel like you're missing that could elevate your career. There's a lot of myths and rumors circulating around about the tech industry and things you can do to better equip yourself, to get yourself ready to level up your careers. And while some of them are true, there's a lot of things that people really hone in on and focus on that, to be frank, don't quite matter. And I'm here to help demystify and also answer any questions that you guys might have about the tech industry. So before we get started, if you have any questions at all, make sure and drop them in the chat. We actually even have some special guests tuning in here on the back end from our IT Career Accelerator. If you haven't heard of that before, we have created a community for people that are looking to build their tech careers, who want more, who are eager to make that career change. And we built the IT Career Accelerator just for that. So we're talking, we have a live community. We do coaching calls. We do resume reviews, LinkedIn reviews. And some of those folks have actually joined us to ask questions and join us on the live stream tonight. So if you have any questions at all, make sure and drop in the chat. I see tons of people already popping in here tonight, and some very familiar faces and some new faces. How is everyone doing? It has been a while since we've been here live. It's so great to talk to all of you again. So let's dive right on in, as let's let some of the questions kind of start coming in and everything. So everyone, I see this recurring trend, and I know I talk about it on the YouTube channel, but I want to share it with you guys. Is people feel the need to get certified and get all these certifications before they break into the industry. And what do I mean by that? A lot of people feel like you have to have the certifications before you can even start applying for the jobs. And I'm just here to tell you that that's not the case. You do not need certifications to land the job. Now, do certifications help? Do they help open doors to interviews? Absolutely. But you don't have to wait till you've completed that certification process to land your job in tech. One thing that is like a power move that you guys can be doing as you are studying for your certifications is go ahead and list that on your resume. List that you are studying for a certification, that whatever platform you're using, whether it's CBT Nuggets, IT Pro TV, Total Seminars, Dion Training, list that you're using that platform to study and give them a timeline of when you think you're going to complete that exam. Let me tell you, speaking as a hiring manager, someone who is in the industry interviewing people, that is pretty much as good as having the actual certification. Saying that you're studying for it, one, that's going to get you past the ATS filters. Let's be honest, the AI detectors, the resume readers, that will get you past the filters for that certification. And two, that shows initiative. That shows that you are working towards a certification, and more than likely, even if it's a requirement on that job posting, that's enough. They'll be more than willing to give you 6 months to finish getting that certification, or however long you need. So definitely don't feel like you can't start looking for your job today, that you have to get your certifications first. So that's just a little bit of advice that I want to start off this live stream with. And I already see a bunch of questions coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and answer some of these before we get too far ahead. Networking. So Outlaw 11, networking with people is greater than certs. Absolutely. There is this trend that we are never going to get over in the tech industry, and I absolutely hate it because I think it's kind of unfair and somewhat discriminatory. But so often in this industry, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And we're never going to get away from that. Let's just be honest. Just speaking the truth here, we're never going to get away from, you could be applying for a job, and this has happened to me. I've applied for jobs in the past, for jobs that I was really well qualified for, and I didn't get the opportunity. I lost it to someone who was less qualified, but was friends with the boss or knew someone in the company. So often it's not what you know, it's who you know. So the sooner you can get out and start networking with people, building those connections, the sooner you're going to be able to find success in this industry. And there's tons of different ways to do this. You can do this online with platforms like LinkedIn and start networking with people. You can do this in person. Go to websites like meetup.com and find in-person networking events in your area. Trust me, every sector, like no matter where you live, they have them. You might have to drive a little bit, but they are key. This is one thing I did when I first started going out into the tech industry. Is I went to networking events. I started talking to people, letting them know my story, letting them know my goals and ambitions, and it 100% paid off. So absolutely, networking with people is huge. I already lost my spot in this chat. Is the special guest the big bald Azure guy? No, he is not joining us tonight. We do have some other amazing people here, but the big bald Azure guy, he's been busy. He's been absolutely busy. So he, as far as I know, he is not joining us tonight. So King Kong, 3 years in IT support, absolute hell, and no way to pivot despite having post-secondary diploma and additional certs. Interesting. Well, if you have 3 years of experience in the tech industry, you absolutely do have plenty of options to pivot. You have more experience and, certs than most people probably do trying to break into the industry. You've done your time. What I would recommend is start looking at those next jobs, whether you want to become a network engineer, a cybersecurity analyst, whatever, and see what are the requirements those job listings are looking for, and start studying up and applying for those jobs. Just like I was saying, get out and start networking with people that are doing the jobs that you want. Start learning from them, asking them for advice, because you have way more than most people trying to make any changes in this field. So absolutely, I can guarantee you there's options. It just depends on what you want to do, your willingness to learn, what's driving you on a daily basis. I'm good. First time catching the live stream. I usually watch his videos. I am 35 and have been a stay-at-home dad for the past 3 years and have been looking to get into cybersecurity. Welcome to the stream. This is, like I said, this is the first live stream I've done in over 10 months. It's been quite some time. So welcome to the live stream. I understand, the whole stay-at-home dad part. I tried it for a little while, actually. After I left my first job during COVID, the plan was I wasn't going to go back to work. I wasn't going to necessarily break back into tech. My wife has had a job and we just tried it out for a little bit. I was doing the whole stay at home. Kids were at home doing homeschool during COVID and stuff. And it just wasn't quite working out, family wise. So I ended up getting a job as a network engineer. And I'm glad I did, it led to the job I had now. So there is tons of options in cybersecurity for you. I will warn you, it can be difficult to make the jump from no work in the tech field to right into cybersecurity. That is a hefty jump there. If you have the time to build up your skill set, it is absolutely achievable. So don't let that get you down and feel like it's not obtainable. But it is going to be a bit of a jump there. You might find it a little bit easier to start at an entry level like help desk position or something like that, and then pivot into cybersecurity. Jet, I have an interview for a help desk internship for summer tomorrow. Any advice I should do right now, or questions I should ask during the interview tomorrow? So advice right now is relax, because it is way too late to try to cram study anything into for an interview. So just relax and answer your questions honestly. Be honest. You don't have to be the smartest person in the room, because a lot of times, like when I do an interview, I really don't care if they know the answers. I care if they are willingness to find the answers, that they're not just going to give up and try to pass it off to the next higher tier, that they're going to use Google, that they're going to use AI to help find the answers. And questions you should ask. I was actually just talking about this, and I can't remember if I released it in a recent video. No, it's coming out in a video later this week. So when I was first going for job interviews, the power question I found out is, you go through your whole interview and you get to the end of it, and they typically ask, hey, do you have any questions for us before we end this interview today, or something, whatever. And the question I found that's the most powerful is, I would reply with, actually, yes, I do have one question. I'm really appreciative of you guys taking the time. And if there is a next step in this interview, or before the next time we talk again, is there anything I can do to make myself a more eligible candidate? Is there any skills that you feel like I could learn to better educate myself, to have more tools in my toolkit? And that actually you'll get two types of answers. One, you'll get an answer where they kind of just blow you off because they're probably not prepared for an answer or a question like that. Or two, they'll actually tell you. And the most memorable one for me is when I went for my interview as an IT support specialist, my very first job in tech. I asked that question, and the hiring manager is like, actually, we use Cisco Meraki. And right now they have a deal where if you attend one of their webinars, they will send you like a free piece of their gear, whether it's a network switch, router, Wi-Fi, and you could actually get yourself some free equipment and start playing around with it and get more familiar. So as soon as I left like that interview, I was sitting in the parking lot and I looked up the webinars, signed up for them, and took the webinars and got the free gear. And a few weeks later, I got a call for a second follow-up interview. And guess what? When I went to that interview, one of the first things I was able to say, hey, just to let you know, I took your advice and I actually got a full Cisco Meraki deployment running at my house. I've set up in a lab, I've played around with it, I've broken it a few times, I've learned a lot of lessons. My credibility just shot through the roof with that, because I was one of the few people that actually followed through. One, it showed that I was willing to learn, my drive and ambition and my initiative. And two, like I already knew the tools that they were using. I was that much more of an eligible candidate. So that's some advice for you there. If you have any more questions, feel free to ask. Good you answered that, because I was worried that I needed to finish Network Plus to get a job. No, absolutely. It's time to go to the tech business sales side. All this IT is being a nerd, being underpaid. I can't finish saying that. Everyone's got to do what works for them and their family. So I've been in IT for 15 years. I stopped learning to raise a family. I'm playing catch up. I need certs, and a lot of them. I have been desktop support, application support, and cyber. You'd actually be surprised if you already have 15 years of experience under your belt. Even if you had to stop you have more than enough to dive back in and start. I would figure out, I'd sit down, create a roadmap of what you want out of this career industry. What is on one side of the map, have your dream job. Like, this is the job you're going to retire from, and work backwards on the different jobs and learning material that you have to learn to get there. Don't try to just leapfrog into that job. Set yourself up for success. Understand you're going to have to do stepping stone jobs to be able to get there, and create yourself a roadmap. And then from that roadmap of those different positions, identify what skills and or certifications you need to achieve that plan. That's my biggest advice to you. You miss every shot you don't take. Absolutely. Now I am unemployed. I am looking to get Azure certs. Azure is booming right now, so those are some great certifications to look into getting. I'm a little over 6 months teaching myself from nothing but skip certs. I couldn't learn that way. A lot of people can't learn that way. I started learning on a Raspberry Pi 02W. That is awesome. Congratulations. No, certs are for everyone. You really have to figure out what works best for you, what learning path works best. Everyone learns differently, so absolutely. No two people learn the same way, so you got to figure out what works best for you. Is CCNA still a golden ticket? Yes, if you want to get into networking. If you want to become a network engineer, absolutely get your CCNA. CCNA is like your gateway to the industry. I don't know if it's as much of a golden ticket now. I'd say it's shifted to CCNP. CCNP is gold right now. If you have a CCNP, there's no reason you're not getting hired as a network engineer. But if you're not looking to get into the networking field, don't bother get your CCNA. Learn the CCNA equivalent skills, because you're going to need networking pretty much anywhere you go in tech. But unless you're getting into networking, don't get the CCNA. I see so many people get certifications that they don't need. They're just throwing money away, and it frustrates me so much. That's one thing I try to focus on in my community is we talk about what you actually need, and not try to waste money on certifications that are never going to benefit your career. Certifications are supposed to help you achieve that very next job. So if you don't need the certification, then why waste the money on it? Where do I start if I want to get into cybersecurity with no prior experience and a stay-at-home dad? I have no certs, but I have started Network Plus. I've worked in tech since I was 14, but never as a job. I've been there. When I first got into tech, I actually had no certifications at all. I was studying for my A+, but I didn't have it yet. You don't need the certifications to break into the industry. If you're looking to get into cybersecurity first, you don't want to do help desk whatsoever, definitely I would recommend getting your security plus. And it's hard just to say cybersecurity because there's so many different jobs within the cybersecurity realm, the cybersecurity niche. That's very broad. So security plus is kind of like your foundational certification to get into cybersecurity. And I think I was saying this earlier, it is difficult to jump straight into cybersecurity without any prior work experience. It's doable, but cybersecurity is not an entry-level job. And some people are going to really hate me for saying that, but I feel like it's the truth. Cybersecurity is not entry-level. I would look at getting in some of those entry-level jobs like IT support specialist, help desk, desktop support, and then pivoting into a cybersecurity role like a SOC or something like that. That's my biggest advice to you. If you have more questions, let me know. Let me tell you something before I get booted. Don't like how this is starting out. Guess how much I was paid as IT support? $25 an hour. Guess how much My delivery driver pays me $25 an hour. I'm sorry for being negative. You know what? No, because it's the truth. Sometimes entry-level jobs don't pay well. But it's a constant dilemma in tech. We kind of almost do it to ourselves. You know, some people are just so eager to break in, they're willing to take those super low paying jobs. And it sucks. Don't get me wrong, it absolutely sucks. When I started out in tech, I was making $4,900 a year. Right? $49,000 a year. Sorry. Was my very first job. Did I stay at that pay for long? No. My first year I was there, I worked my butt off knowing that it was a stepping stone. And when I got to the point where, like, okay, I've been here for a year, I'm either need to get a raise or I'm gonna, leave. Keep in mind, I didn't say that to the employer, but that's what I started to think about. I got a $13,000 a year raise. And then the very next year, I got another huge raise. And, 3 years into the field, I was able to become a director of network operations. So 3 years in, I went from help desk. 3 years in, I went from help desk to a director level role, making over $100,000 a year. So it is possible if you have the drive and motivation. The problem is you can't have this negative attitude that the world's out to get you. I understand making low pay is absolutely demoralizing and frustrating, but don't let it get you down. You have to focus on, okay, like use that to drive you to like, okay, I got to get myself out of this. How do I get it? Because there is plenty of money to be made in tech. Don't get me wrong. Like, you can make as much as you want in this industry. You can be rich upon your wildest dreams. It all depends on what your goals are and your drive and ambition to get there. People aren't just going to give you money. You have to go out there and convince them. And if you're not happy in the job you're in now, then change it. Find another job. Because there's jobs out there. That's actually the way, if you are in this to try to make big bucks, and I really don't recommend just being in tech to make money. But if you're in this industry to make the large bucks, you can't stay at one job for more than a year. You're going to have to constantly job hop, because that's how you're going to make the large pay increases. It's by changing jobs. People that are after those like $180,000, $200,000 a year salaries, they don't stay at one company for long. They stay there for like a year max. And then while they're there, they're constantly upskilling and learning new skills to better themselves, so they can get that next job that's going to give them a 20% pay increase when they change jobs. So that's my 2 cents rant over. But Outlaw 11, CCNA is no longer the golden ticket. Too many people have it. That it doesn't set you apart anymore. Yeah, it really isn't. It's a golden ticket, as in it's a great entry into the field, but the CCNA or CCNP is really what the CCNA used to be in the field. Getting your CCNP, that is really what you need to set yourself out in this industry, because a lot of people get the CCNA and stop, and they don't bother getting the CCNP. So I definitely, if you want to really stand out, go after your CCNP. All right. 6 months later, I have a Raspberry Pi 5 running my persistent Docker containers, 10 VMs on my workstations, 2 Windows SRVs 25, 1 DC and 1 DIFR, 2 Windows 11s in Forest, Rocky, Kali, Parrot, etc. That's awesome. Let's see. I would like to be a network engineer, but it's not the same as it was 15 years ago. I'm looking at Azure and networking. Do I need the CCNA, or is the Network Plus good enough? The Network Plus is good enough, but do you want to be good enough? Is good enough to stand out nowadays? I think the CCNA is better. I mean, if you don't have your Network Plus yet, don't get it. If you want to be in networking or deal with some sort of networking, don't get your Network Plus. Go after the CCNA. It's like you don't need to get the Network Plus then the CCNA. They're not sequential like that. The CCNA will teach you everything that the Network Plus will teach you, and then some, and even more. So yeah, networking, and you know what, to be honest with you, networking in the next 3 to 5 years is going to look totally different than it does now. It is a rapidly evolving field, especially with the adoption of AI. The demands on our networks have never been greater. I mean, at Cisco Live, they're talking about doing what was it? I think it was 51.2 terabits or terabits per second routing. Like, we're measuring routing, like internet speeds, in terabits. That's mind-blowing. Like, so yeah, networking is not the same as it used to be. It is evolving fast, but to me, that's what makes it so much fun and interesting. Travis, I've been in help desk for about 3 months now. My long-term goal is to I wonder if there was more of that message that I'm not seeing here. And here's a good question for you. If you worked in IT support for 3 years, how do you pivot out of support to a higher paying IT jobs that aren't just support on steroids like most IT roles? There's tons of different ways to pivot. What interests you? Because that's really how you're going to pivot. You got to figure out what interests you the most. Let me know what you're interested in, and then I'll answer and give you some more advice on that. Study for the certs and do the labs. If you can't afford the certs, get them. Or if you can afford the certs, get them. Absolutely. Yes, I am laid off from seasonal lawn care and taught myself during the season. Want to do anything in IT, really? That's awesome. I mean, you're on the right path to break into the industry, in all honesty. I think you could, in all honesty, start applying for jobs today and have success if you positioned yourself right. Hugo, thank you. I'm a noob. I like the video with Ginger Hacker too. Absolutely. Ginger Hacker is awesome. He's actually, we just signed him on as one of the coaches you can get coaching from in my IT Career Accelerator. So if anyone joins IT Career Accelerator, he is in there and an active part of the community. Tim, I'm in my early 20s looking to transition into cybersecurity. My current job offers tuition-free program for multiple majors, one being computer science. What do you think about going the college route in this case? You know, college is not for everyone, but if it's free and that's something that you found that you enjoy, absolutely. I mean, that's like free money, you know what I mean? If you have the time and you're not looking to make a job change tomorrow, absolutely, it will never hurt to get a college education, especially if it's free. But I'll preface that with, college is not for me. I tried to go to college and it didn't work with my learning style, so I dropped out. Doesn't mean I wasn't successful. I work as a director for an ISP, but that's just me. So you really got to figure out the learning style that works for you and go after it. Because I don't want to tell you, yes, college is the key, yes, certification is the key, self-learning is the key, because you got to figure out what works for you. This sounds like a major opportunity though if it's truly all free to you. So sorry. I had an interview and failed. Did not get the job. That's a bummer. You know, and please don't take this personal. I got some advice years ago when I first started out in the industry. I can thank Zach Hill from IT Career Questions gave me this advice. It was the tough love I needed. If you are applying for jobs and not getting interviews, your resume sucks. But If you are applying for jobs and getting interviews, but not getting job offers, your interview skills suck. And I was like, well, yeah, screw you too, Zach. But it was a tough love I needed to hear, because I was applying for jobs and I was not getting interviews. And I'm like, what's wrong with me? I've had 2 years of experience in the field. So I went back and rewrote my resume and completely threw it out, rewrote it. And sure enough, as soon as I started applying for jobs with that new resume, boom, just every job I was applying for, we'd like to invite you for an interview. We'd like to talk more. We'd like to book a call with you. So don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a learning opportunity. What did you learn from that interview? What did you learn not to say and how to do it? You know, there's plenty of companies. I'm not going to toot on my, I'm not going to self-promote here, because I'm not here to sell you guys things, but there's plenty of other content creators out there besides me that offer mock interviews, that will do interviews with you and give you advice on how to improve. So MR, can you recommend any websites that provide a bunch of networking lab questions so I can solve them, troubleshoot them? Need to be from beginner to advanced ones. Yes, there is tons out there. I want to see something and see if he's still creating them before I recommend it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so go to YouTube. I'll drop it here in chat and check out Jeremy's IT Lab. Free YouTuber. He has tons of great advice. Great YouTuber, great content creator. But yeah, there's one resource, and there's tons of different resources out there. So. And what is the best way to get a head start on experience and education? Lab every day. Absolutely. Go out there, lab, and build experience, practice things. So hold on. I got to stop here for a second because the big bald Azure guy is in the house. How's it going, man? It has been too long. It has been too long. Okay, but with that, I totally lost my spot here. So let me see if I can find where I was at these questions. I only got about another 15 minutes because I'm about to record a podcast this evening. I know if I missed your question, I'm sorry. Feel free to drop it in the chat. What do you think about Blue Side using AI? I think every job, in all honesty, is going to be using AI before we know it, if they're not already. AI is here. We're not putting that toothpaste back in the tube. AI is here to stay. And the people that are going to have the most secure jobs and be the best set up are the people who are using it now, they are using it as the tool that it is. They're going to be the most successful in this industry. I recently completed my associate's degree in cybersecurity and currently pursuing CompTIA certifications. What should I do next for employment? Start applying. Like if you already have an associate's degree in cybersecurity, start applying for jobs right away. Like quit wasting time. Because the sooner you land a job, the sooner you're going to start building experience, the sooner you're going to be able to get that dream job that you want. Like if you have an associate's degree, you got what it takes. Go out and start applying for jobs today. 100%. I started jailbreaking PSP 1000s and customizing MySpace way back. Oh gosh, I remember those days. I used my Stream Deck to teach me Linux, and I've done system configurations. That's awesome. And I know you said something earlier. I can't remember if this is like in continuation of that. I apologize. Any advice for my third attempt of Sec Plus? Scored 720 both times. That's rough. For CompTIA certifications, I found You know, flashcards are huge. They help out a lot. Sorry, there's something in my glasses that was just bugging the crap out of me. So getting a good set of digital flashcards is a huge benefit. I do know, gosh, I'm trying to remember his name. There's a lot of free flashcards out there for the certifications. So I'd look into those, getting good set. Practice labs are great for retaining knowledge. Um, and you know, don't rush yourself or second guess yourself. Look into Professor Messer on YouTube. He hosts live study groups for the Security Plus, and they're completely free on YouTube, so definitely go check that out. As someone who wants to be a network engineer, is the new CompTIA A Plus worth it? That's tough. It depends on you. Because the new CompTIA A Plus is definitely great foundational skills. I just got done creating a complete CompTIA A Plus course with total seminars, and I recorded 120 plus videos with them. And if you are coming from no IT experience at all, like no background, and really don't have the fundamental knowledge, it is a great certification to get started. Now, if you know the basics about the different hardware components of what makes up a computer, the different operating systems and how to use those, I don't necessarily think you need the A plus. You can dive right on into a networking certification. But the difficulty with that is if you don't have the fundamentals and you dive into just straight a networking certification, there's a good chance you might be lost and you might end up taking more time to like relearn those skills. You might find yourself having to go back and relearn those skills. So you got to kind of quiz yourself. And one great thing you can do with that is there's tons of free online practice quizzes for the CompTIA A plus. Take a couple of those quizzes from different platforms, and if you score a pretty high score on all those, then don't bother. Just go to your CCNA. But if you end up like really not doing great on those free practice exams, you might want to consider at least studying for the A plus. If you decide not to get it, that's one thing, but at least learn those skills. I'm trying to get into cybersecurity via the military, but it seems like I keep hitting roadblocks, hurdles preventing me from getting into it. Been in the military for 14 years. First off, thank you for your service. I will say I don't have any military experience, so I can't really make great advice on that. With that said, I would go on YouTube and search the Ginger Hacker. He works in cybersecurity. He is a warrant officer in the Army National Reserves, or Army Reserves, I do believe. Don't quote me on that. I know he's a cybersecurity warrant officer. And if you're interested in getting coaching from him, you can join the IT Career Accelerator on the premium tier, which is the tier that includes coaching. And he is one of our coaches there that can coach you and give you the advice on what you need to do to set yourself up for success. Again, sorry for the sales pitch there. XRV, to break into IT, i.e. support technician roles, would you recommend pursuing CompTIA certifications, a college degree, or a mixture of both? Earlier in the stream, I said everyone learns differently. You got to figure out what learning style works best for you. College wasn't for me, and you definitely do not need a college degree to break into the industry and get a basic support technician role. You barely even need certifications. Certifications will definitely help, but you don't need them. So I definitely recommend pursuing certifications over a college degree just to break into the field. I think that is definitely the best bet there. Practice tests. I like Professor Messer's practice test. Absolutely. Okay, I'm gonna speed run because I only have about 5 more minutes because I got to prep for my next podcast I'm actually going to record this evening. Troubleshooting. Okay. I want Security Plus just for the resume, but I can't afford it yet. There's tons of discounted certification vouchers out there. I'm pretty sure Total Seminars offers them. KevTech IT on YouTube gets certification discounts. I also believe Ginger Hacker, who I was just talking about on YouTube, offers discounted certifications as well through his he runs a nonprofit actually and can get discounted certifications. So definitely go check him out over on YouTube. Yes, cybersecurity is not entry level at all. Absolutely. I also should mention the specific focus I've been looking into is CIS OT. Tim, I so apologize. I totally forgot what your question was earlier. Head start on my experience in education. I still think it matters like how much experience you currently have. You gotta kind of judge how much experience you currently have versus and how comfortable you feel to start. Hopefully that kind of answers your question. Entry goal for cybersecurity should be SOC analyst. Absolutely. Even if your goal is pen testing or something, it is easier to move to new jobs within the cyberspace once you've landed one there. 100% agree. By entry, I mean your first cyber job, not an entry IT job. Thank you for clarifying that. That is good though. I am IT support, but triage phishing emails and monitor threat down. Wait a minute. Triage, yeah. Is that enough to be an of advantage when applying for SOC jobs? You can try. I would definitely say look at the job listings and the requirements and try to see what you need to bridge that gap. Thank you. Absolutely. My hot take, I get way too many scam postings for jobs. There is a lot of ghost jobs and scam postings out there. I hit the like button, or I hit the like button. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to kind of skim through these questions here because like I said, I unfortunately have to wrap this up in the next couple of minutes here. Sorry, I didn't get to everyone's. Like this has been a phenomenal live stream and I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, I'll of course have to say, make sure and hit that like and subscribe button because we have tons of great videos coming out. And also with the holidays right around the corner, every year I do a huge giveaway of training material, and if you're not subscribed, you're not going to get those notifications. So this year I have some really great stuff I'm going to be giving away. Excuse me. Alrighty, let's see. I work in IT and do basic help desk. Should I start CCNA or do I do Security Plus? It depends on what your end goal is. If you want to be in networking, go after the CCNA. If you want to be in cybersecurity, do the Security Plus. You definitely need a networking background to break into cybersecurity. I feel you have to understand the basics of how the network works before you can protect it. But it really depends on what your end goals are. I get to the bottom of the list. I know I missed a bunch of you in here. Anyone need a SOC analyst? Absolutely. All right. With that, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream. This is something new I'm doing is I'm going to actually try to do these at least every other week. and just be more connected in the community. So if you guys have any questions at all, definitely, if you're watching this on the replay, let me know down in the comments below. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this. It's been, like I said, over 10 months since I've done one of these live streams, and I want to get back to doing them more often and answering your guys' questions. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you learned something, and until next time, keep learning.